All right, so here we are. We're up to 9-4 day 2. More about hyperbolas. So just to kind of wrap our brains around everything, x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1 are the hyperbolas that look like this. Remember, if it starts with our x stuff as our positives, our Pac-Men are going to eat points, dots on the x-axis. Now if I flip this around a little bit, remember a squared always comes first, doesn't matter about the size. I could have y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared equals 1. And because it starts with my y, it would be a hyperbola that looks like this. So if I turn them into Pac-Men, they would eat the dots along the y-axis. So we've got to have this general idea in mind before we even dive in. Now remember, this is a vertice or a vertex. These are vertices. And these are vertices. That's a vertex, that's a vertex. Now look at what they start us off with. What is the equation of a hyperbola with vertices? And see, they're just giving us 1, 2, 3, 0, 3. And then 0, negative 3. And what that means is it's going to look like this. So we know our hyperbola is going to look like this, and we know it's going to look like this. Now remember, on day 1, we built the boxes. So if we're building a box and we have to go from the center, we can see the center is 0, 0. If we have to go up 3 and down 3, that's a different way of just telling us A is 3. Now they're going to mess with us a little bit here because we know our box goes up 3, down 3, but we don't know how far it goes to the right or to the left. In other words, we got to find B. Here's where we're going to have to use our noggins. They give us this, and it's almost like a trick because they tell us the rise is 1 and the run is 2 because that's our slope. So that's how we build our box. But we already know that A is 3, and so that's our rise. So we would ask ourselves, what fraction? 3 over what would equal 1 over 2? Well, I hope you can look at this and go, aha, question mark, which is B has to be 6, because 3/6 is the same thing as 1/2. So they're messing with you a little bit here, connecting it to the information they gave you, which tells us B is 6. Now if we were told graph it, we'd go up 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'd go out 6. And then we know this would be out 6 and 6. And then we'd build our box to the best of our ability, draw in our diagonals. And see, the slope here is 3/6, means 1/2. It's the same thing. But what about this negative 1/2? Well, that would be, let me get out a nice little marker here. If we look at this asymptote right here, we would go down 3, which is negative 3, right 6, and we'd go negative 3/6, which is negative 1/2. So we found out, just by looking at our drawing, that A is 3. That got a little messy. And by using some common sense math, we know that this had to be 6. So that's telling us that B is 6. And it would look like this, which tells us it comes from this formula right here. So we're going to put things where they belong. So it's y squared over a squared, and we know that a is 3, so that'd be 9, minus x squared over b squared, and if b is 6, then we can make that 36, and that equals 1. And we're done. Those are tricky. A couple of those on your homework, not a ton. And then the last thing we're going to have to work on, they're going to give us some problems like this. And they're just going to ask us, All right, now that you've gone over circles, parabolas, ellipses, and hyperbolas, which of those conic sections, that's what conic section is asking us, is it a circle? Is it an ellipse? Is it a parabola? Or is it a hyperbola? Now, a couple things. Parabola, only one variable is squared. So why don't we go on the hunt for that first, because I think those are the easiest. Both of them are squared, not a parabola. Both of them squared, not a parabola. Now we look at this and go, hey, our y is squared, but our x isn't. They don't want us to do anything other than identify what kind of conic that is. So that is our parabola. We got this squared, that squared, that squared, that squared. So that is our only parabola. So we're done looking for those. The next thing, in order of, I think, simplicity, is a circle. Remember, x squared plus y squared equals r squared. What I want to communicate to you is these things are the same. Now, they don't have to be ones. They could be tens or fives or whatever. They have to be the same. So we have an x squared and a y squared, and we have perfect balance. That's why it's a perfect circle. So you see we have a 4 and an 81. That is not a circle. 9 and 16, not a circle. We already know that's a parabola. Look at this. We got negative 36, negative 36. And we got x squared, y squared. Perfect balance. So this would be our circle. All right. And there's no other circles because this doesn't match that. Now, what's the significance between an ellipse and a hyperbola? Well, first of all, if you recall, we have for an ellipse, what we have, sorry if I spelled that wrong or it looks bad, we have x squared over a squared plus y squared over b squared equals 1. But a hyperbola is the same thing, kind of, sort of, but it's x squared over a squared minus y squared over b squared equals 1. And the thing I want you to really think about is hyperbola is going to have a minus. Ellipse is going to have a plus. But these little different a's and b's are telling you the coefficients of your x squared and your y squareds are going to be different. Like your circles were the same, your coefficients are going to be different for your hyperbola and ellipses. So let's start with this one. We got a 25 and 121, obviously different, and it's separated by minus. Guess what that makes this? Hyperbola, because that's the only one that has a minus. Let's keep going. We already identified, last one. Oh no, we got two more. We got x squared and y squared separated by plus. Yes, you can ignore all of this. And we're like, wait, there's imbalance. And remember what we said about an ellipse. It's a whacked out circle because a circle has plus. I know I've written on that, but and an ellipse is where you have a circle where these coefficients are not the same. That's what distorts it, and that's what we have here. We got a 9 and a 16 and a plus. So letter B would be an ellipse. And then we go to the last one. Similar to B, this is different than this. We got an x squared and a y squared. Don't really care about that. Separated by a plus. That also makes it an ellipse. So it's easy once you've done a few and you kind of know the rules, but there's going to be part of your homework that tackles those. So good luck with those, and that finishes Unit 9. Congrats, you guys.